There is a reason Your Lie in April stays with people long after they finish watching it. It is not because of the breathtaking performances, it is not because of the animation, and it is not even because of its heartbreaking ending. Most people believe this anime is about music, but music is only the language it uses. The real story is about something every one of us will face someday. Learning to live, even when we know nothing lasts forever. Music is often described as something beautiful because every note eventually fades away. If every song lasted forever, it would lose its meaning. The same is true for life. We cherish moments because they end. We treasure people because we know they cannot stay forever. Yet, despite knowing this, we spend so much of our lives pretending that tomorrow is guaranteed. We postpone our dreams, we delay difficult conversations, we wait for the perfect moment, and without realizing it, we let life quietly pass us by. When we first meet Kousei, he is not simply someone who stopped playing the piano, he is someone who stopped living. After losing his mother, he retreats into a world where emotions are buried beneath routine and silence. His fear is understandable, because once you have experienced enough pain, avoiding life can feel safer than embracing it. Sometimes the greatest prison is not built from walls, it is built from fear. Then Kaori appears. She does not enter his life gently. She crashes into it. She laughs loudly, she breaks the rules. She performs music however she feels, even when judges criticize her for it. To many viewers, she seems reckless, but perhaps she simply understands something most people forget. Life is too short to spend it trying to be perfect. Kaori never plays music just to impress an audience. She plays to make people feel something, because she knows that perfect technique fades from memory. Emotion does not. The same applies outside of music. Years from now, people probably will not remember every achievement we accomplish, but they will remember how we made them feel. That is exactly what Kaori leaves behind. Not trophies, not records, not perfect performances. She leaves memories. And somehow, those memories become stronger than anything she could have accomplished on a stage. But Kaori isn't the only person teaching us something. Every person Kousei meets becomes a different lesson about life. Even the characters who appear for only a few moments leave behind an idea that stays with us long after the series ends. Take Tsubaki. At first, she seems like nothing more than the childhood friend who's always teasing Kousei. But beneath that is someone struggling with a feeling many people experience. The fear of watching someone you've always known become someone you can no longer reach. Tsubaki doesn't realize how much Kousei means to her until life begins pulling them in different directions. And that's something many of us experience. We assume the people around us will always be there. We tell ourselves we'll have another chance to say what we feel, another chance to spend time together, another chance to appreciate them. But life doesn't promise another chance. Tsubaki's story reminds us that love isn't only about romance. Sometimes it's simply about being grateful that someone has been part of your life. Then there's Ryota Watari. He appears carefree, confident, the kind of person who never seems to worry about anything. But beneath that confidence is someone who understands that life should be lived with openness. He encourages Kousei to meet new people, to take risks, and to step outside the loneliness he built around himself. Sometimes our greatest friends aren't the ones who solve our problems. They're the ones who gently push us toward a life we were too afraid to live. Without Watari introducing Kaori into Kousei's life, none of this story would have happened. Sometimes changing someone's life only takes opening one door. Even Hiroko Seto, Kousei's piano mentor after his mother's death, carries an important message. For years, she blames herself. She believes she failed both Kousei and his mother. But eventually, she realizes that guilt cannot change the past. The only thing we can control is what we do for the people still standing in front of us. She chooses to support Kousei not because she can erase his pain, but because she refuses to let him face it alone. Sometimes healing begins when someone simply believes in us before we believe in ourselves. Then we have Saki Arima, Kousei's mother. Perhaps the most misunderstood character in the entire series. For much of the anime, she's remembered as harsh, demanding, even cruel. It's easy to judge her through Kousei's memories, but as the story unfolds, we learn something heartbreaking. She knew she didn't have much time left. She wasn't trying to create a perfect pianist. She was desperately trying to prepare her son for a future she knew she wouldn't be there to see. Her methods were deeply flawed. They left emotional scars that Kousei carried for years. But behind those mistakes was something painfully human, a mother's fear of leaving her child alone. It reminds us that love isn't always expressed perfectly. Sometimes people hurt the ones they care about while trying to protect them. understanding someone doesn't erase the pain they caused, but it allows forgiveness to become possible. And then there are Kousei's rivals, Takeshi Aiza and Emi Igawa. They are introduced as competitors, but in reality they represent admiration. Neither of them begins playing piano because they want to defeat Kousei. They begin because his performances inspired them. That's beautiful. We often think success is measured by trophies or rankings, but perhaps real success is inspiring someone else to discover their own passion. Without realizing it, Kousei changed both of their lives long before they ever met him. Amy is especially fascinating. She doesn't chase technical perfection, she chases emotion. As a child, one performance by Kousei moved her so deeply that it changed the direction of her entire life. Years later, she wants him to play with that same passion again. She reminds us that people don't remember flawless performances. They remember the ones that made them feel something. Takeshi represents something different, persistence. Every competition becomes another opportunity to catch up to the person he admires. Even when Kousei disappears from the piano world, Takeshi continues moving forward because inspiration doesn't disappear when the person who inspired us is gone. Sometimes the people ahead of us aren't obstacles. They're guideposts, showing us how far we can still grow. Even Nagi Aiza, introduced later in the story, shows another side of inspiration. She pretends not to care about Kousei, yet secretly wants to understand what makes his music so powerful. She reminds us that every generation learns from the one before it. Growth is passed from person to person, just like music itself. When you step back and look at all these characters together, something becomes clear. No one changes alone. Kousei needed Kaori. Kaori needed the people who supported her. Tsubaki needed Kousei to understand her own heart. The rivals needed someone to inspire them. Even the teachers continued learning from their students. Everyone was changing everyone else, just like in real life. We rarely become who we are by ourselves. Every conversation, every friendship, every goodbye leaves a small mark on who we eventually become. And maybe that's the hidden message of Your Lie in April. It's not about becoming the greatest musician. It's not about winning competitions. It's not even about overcoming grief. It's about realizing that a single person can completely transform another person's life without ever intending to. Kaori didn't leave behind a perfect performance. She left behind a changed Kousei. Kousei inspired rivals he barely knew. His mother, despite her mistakes, gave him the strength that would one day allow him to stand on stage again. His friends reminded him that even after loss, life continues. And perhaps that's why Your Lie in April still resonates years after it first aired. Because it reminds us that our lives are like music. Every note eventually fades. Every performance ends. But if we live with enough honesty, enough courage, and enough kindness, the melody we leave behind will continue to echo in the hearts of the people we touched. Maybe that is what makes a life truly unforgettable. Not how long it lasts, but how deeply it is felt.